Hey, my name's Dan. Today we're checking out the hotly anticipated Apple Vision Pro. Apple have just made a reveal announcement and people have got their hands on this VR device and tried it out firsthand. Firstly, let's stamp out the elephant. This is first and foremost a VR device, or more accurately an XR device. Don't let Apple tell you that this is an AR device. The glass panel on the front is indeed not see-through. The Apple Vision Pro achieves augmented reality features through cameras on the outside, reprojecting the image onto the LED screens fixed to your eyes. This is just like all other VR headsets on the market can do, but can Apple do it better? Let's get into it. So let's talk power. The Apple Vision Pro features a full, standalone, inbuilt computer, complete with the Apple M2 chip found in the MacBook Pro and the MacBook Air. There's also a new dedicated R1 chip, which handles the computation of the sensors and cameras we're going to talk about, because there's a lot. Each eye features a micro OLED display, which Apple claim are the equivalent to 4K displays with unprecedented quality of resolution, which you can't find anywhere else, not on another VR device or flat screen panel. They haven't actually confirmed the actual resolution yet, so that's still to come. Finally, for sound, there are a dedicated speaker for each ear which point to your ear holes and give you 3D stereoscopic audio. Let's take a closer look at those sensors and cameras. So we have 2 downward cameras on the underside of the device, 4 cameras on the front, 2 IR illuminators, 2 true depth cameras, there's a LiDAR scanner, that's a big one for 3D video capture we'll talk about. Then on the inside, there's 2 IR cameras per eye, so 4 in total, and finally a whole bunch of little LED illuminators for eye tracking. This product comes with no hardware for controller input. There's no plan to make controllers either. I know what a lot of you VR veterans are thinking. That's not good, right? That's bad for gaming. Bear with me, we'll get there in my summary. This device is fully controlled by hand tracking, eye tracking, and voice. People who've already had this on their faces have claimed that the control inputs are great and very responsive, so it sounds promising. So the first way to control the device is through eye tracking. The Quest Pro and the more gaming-focused PlayStation VR 2 already had eye tracking. I used to work in game development, and my boss was once experimenting with eye tracking technology for flat screens, and I remember being super impressed with it. That was like 5 years ago, and these days eye tracking works like magic. You can move your eyes around to highlight UI elements, and use hand gestures to interact. With eye tracking comes a technology called foveated rendering. In simple terms, this technology only renders the thing you're looking at directly as a beautiful full resolution image. Everything else in your peripheral vision doesn't need to be rendered at a full resolution, which saves on computational processing. The beauty here is that eye tracking is so fast these days that you'd have a hard time noticing any of this actually happening. Those that have tried the PlayStation VR 2 will vouch that the technology works amazingly in applications that support it. To keep our devices private, we first had passwords, or passcodes I guess. Then we had fingerprint scanners, then face detection. Optic ID is the next step, which uses unique biometric patterns in your eyes to verify it is indeed you using your device. Cool beans. Next, let's talk about controlling your device through hand gestures. The Meta Quest Pro and the Meta Quest 2 has had impressive hand tracking for a while, but apparently the tech on this new Apple device is even more improved. To interact with an app, you would interact with its icon by pinching your fingers. You can drag elements around and resize windows also. To scroll some text, or scroll a web page in Safari, you would pinch to interact and then swipe up and down to scroll. Simple. Lastly, to input text into any applications, a virtual keyboard can be used, but it looks like it's going to be much easier to use voice-to-text technology. Again, you can see a familiar pattern here. We've had this tech for a while. You can get it on an Amazon Fire Stick to search for a movie. If accurate enough, it could be a simple, elegant implementation to get away from needing a keyboard. Alternatively, this device can connect to other Apple devices such as wireless keyboards and trackpads, or your MacBook. The input systems on this device probably mean it will never be for gamers. In the same sense that mobile phone apps like Candy Crush don't really class as meaty games, the same is likely to be true here with any gaming related apps. Apparently I'm hearing No Man's Sky is rumoured to come out on this device. On how that works, I guess we'll just have to be patient and find out. On top of the device is a little crown that will allow you to, in real time, spin to adjust the level of how much of the external camera's reprojection show in your environment. This is a great feature that the Quest Pro sort of tackles by having no light shields, so you could see your peripheral. The light shields were offered as a separate product to block off that peripheral. Apple have solved this issue more elegantly in software. As mentioned in this video's intro, most VR headsets have a visual pass-through that allows the user to see the outside world, And how they do this is with those external cameras. This sounds simple enough in concept, but to actually get those cameras to project a 3D image of your surroundings needs those true depth cameras on the outside. The entry-level Meta Quest 2 and even its predecessor, the Quest 1, have done this for years. Those devices project a black and white image, however. It turns out getting colour onto these 3D reprojections of your surroundings requires another colour camera to layer its full 2D glory on top. The Quest Pro does this, but it's not perfect. In the reveal, Apple are showing a lot of pin-sharp, deep colour pass-through, and only time will tell how good this actually is. Again, so far reports are saying that it's pretty darn impressive, and very accurate. When you're wearing the device, people near you will see your eyes through a screen on the outside of the device. It's not yet clear if this is an avatar of your face or a pass-through camera from the inside of the headset. If you're in an application, this is replaced with a swirling graphic, so the person opposite you on the train doesn't think you're gazing at them, while really you're just watching a movie. As mentioned at the start of this video, this isn't an AR device because that window isn't transparent. The trailer makes it look like a window, but it's likely to be a 3D scan you make of your face when you set the device up. I'm not sure how I feel about this. The technology seems cool, but why not just take the device off like we do with normal VR devices? All this new technology is just adding to the already hefty price tag. Due to the LiDAR sensor on the front, this device can take videos with depth. This isn't to be confused with a 360-degree video. This is a video/reprojection where every element in the image has depth, so when you replay that video, you can move around the image to a finite degree. This is getting closer to some Star Wars hologram sci-fi stuff. Bear in mind that this won't get you a full 3D reprojection of a scene from the past to relive and look at from a whole new angle. If the camera couldn't see part of the image when it was taken, it can't fill in the gaps, so to speak. Here's my 2 cents on this. Taking a pseudo 3D family video is weird. I can't even stand people taking a video at a concert. If you spent the whole time watching a live event, that could be a family barbecue or a Foo Fighters gig, through a screen, then you probably missed key elements that made that live event special. So who is this device for, and how will they be using it? To me it seems for professionals much like the Quest Pro, who want unlimited screen space. There's an argument the general layman could use it like a big screen experience, which was a big part of the announcement video, but that's a hefty price point for an immersive cinema experience that only you can see. You might not realise this, but you can actually do this right now on the $299 Quest 2. We've been able to do this for a while using a brilliant app called Big Screen. It's worth mentioning also that battery life is only 2 hours on this device, so you might have to plug it in and be tethered to finish a whole movie. The battery is external to take the weight off the front and plugs in via a port on the side and then can slip in your pocket. It's about the size of 2 iPhones glued on top of each other. As I alluded to, you can plug a USB-C into this battery and have a tethered experience that will run indefinitely. Extra batteries will be available to hot swap in and out. All this technology isn't cheap. It's $3,499. That's very expensive. A lot of people would love to tell you that there's no competition. Apple rules all. That's why they can charge so much. But there is. The Meta Quest Pro will do a lot of the main things that this device will do, which I think is the #1 use case for an expensive device like this, which is projecting multiple screens into a 3D space for a professional to use for work. Again, as I mentioned earlier, this device really isn't for a VR gamer, and I appreciate if you're a returning viewer to my channel, that's probably you. The control input is just not going to be good enough to support a good gaming experience. Is this made for that market? I don't think so, but then I don't think the Meta Quest Pro was for gamers either. What Apple have tried to deliver here is the best VR headset on the market for the most price, which for a VR fan is amazing. I can't wait to try it. But have they made anything revolutionary? It's hard to tell at this stage, but I'm leaning towards not really. Time will tell if this device has the next iPhone effect, but my reservations here are that I can't see anything substantial on the device that we haven't already been able to do for a little while, even if this device will probably do those things better than the rest of the market, and so it should at that price. Don't be fooled when people say this has no competitor, they're simply wrong. Well, at least in the professional user space, which is the target audience. I've seen many breakdowns on this device already, from many content creators saying that this is not competing with other VR devices on the market, but they never tell you why or how that's the case. The people who are going to be using this are using it for features like the bonus of extra screens for work. They're not spending $3,500 so they can run around the family barbecue with a headset on and record 3D videos. If anything, they've just made the whole market take the Meta Quest Pro more seriously, And for people who aren't trapped in that Apple ecosystem, the Quest Pro is a viable alternative. That device can do all the main productivity features you'd be using on an Apple device. It's just that the Apple device is more expensive and will probably do it slightly better. And that's my Apple Vision Pro breakdown. My name's been Dan, you've been watching Goosey Goggles VR. Thanks a lot. We're going to talk about the Quest 3 announcement, reel off some of its features and go into my thoughts a touch. Next, we'll go through all the highlights of the Meta Showcase and see what we're going to be playing on this shiny new device. Let's get into it. So here is all the information we have so far, but bear in mind on September the 27th there will be more news to come at this year's Connect. So first off, the Quest 3 is 40% smaller than the Quest 2.